Hi friends, it's Auntie Cuckoo. Today we're getting crafty and I'm sharing all kinds of DIY ornaments and hacks for your Christmas tree. So today we're jumping right into a few Dollar Tree DIY hacks. Now when I was at the Dollar Tree and I spotted these beautiful gold gift boxes, I thought these would be great for gift giving. But even more so, I can see them in a Christmas tree, so I picked them up in a couple of different sizes. They are so easy to use your branches to stack on your Christmas tree. Now I picked up 6, they'll all be in the same tree and they're varying sizes. I might switch out those bows, so sky's the limit. They come in all kinds of colors: red, green, gold, you name it. You could even cover boxes that you already have and create this same look for pennies. Now on to our next hack, which is to pick up these decorative orbs from the Dollar Tree. These are usually on the candle section and they're great little pieces of decor. They're great bowl filler, but when I see these, I see some high-end West Elm modern ornaments for my tree. So I picked up a few and I used traditional ornament hangers to secure them in place. Now, not all of them need them. You can actually just put them through the branches. And I think these are gorgeous. Now, you could change the color on them if you don't like the gold. I personally love it. And I think that these give a really nice contrast to traditional round ornaments and other things you may be using in your tree, especially if you like that modern look. Now let's get on to a DIY. This one I wanted to do last year. I failed miserably, but this year we're tackling it. I was in Dollar Tree and I picked up a few of these high cloche domes. And you guys know Hobby Lobby has all their Christmas things, including craft items, at 60% off. So I did pick up a wooden nativity. Now you could use your old nativity for this. You could use a thrift store nativity or maybe pieces of nativities that you have collected. For this one, since it's wood, I did take it out to my garage, gave it a good sanding using my trusty falling apart Dollar Tree sanding block. And then once they were sanded and smooth, I used some flat black spray paint by Rust-Oleum to give them a good coat of paint on the front. I waited till they dried and did the back. Now I pulled out my Dollar Tree hay bale from fall and I am going to use it as part of this DIY. Once my pieces were dried with the black paint, I brought them inside and gave them a dry brushing of a gold or almost copper looking paint, not forgetting about the sides of them or giving them an extra little bit of paint on maybe the hair or the hands, just to give them that real custom high-end look. And when I was done, I took the bases of those domes from the Dollar Tree outside and I used my favorite metallic spray paint. It's antique gold. You can find it at Ace Hardware, and I gave them a good coating. Then I brought them back inside. Now I didn't paint the underside. These are going to be ornaments, so you could if you really wanted. I don't think there's going to be any room on my tree for seeing the bottoms. Once my pieces were dried, I used some hot glue to secure them into little sets. So for this one, I used the angel along with Jesus, and I did sort of dry fit these before adding the hot glue so that I was sure that the dome would fit over them. So how I chose to put them together were the 3 wise men together, the angel and Jesus, Mary and Joseph, and then a shepherd and a sheep. I also used some hot glue and some of that hay bale from the fall decor at Dollar Tree to put along the bottom, just to add a little bit of color and texture. And then I used a bit of hot glue around the edges just to secure my dome closed, since this is going to be hanging as an ornament. Now this was a little bit of a failure. I was playing around with different kinds of yarn to use as my hangers, and I did use hot glue, and for the most part they worked. I do love how these turned out. I think they look gorgeous and expensive, but the 3 wise men ornament did fall. So do you have any suggestions how else we could hang these as ornaments? I'm not sure if I could drill through the top of these, but I'm very happy with them. I'm just going to hot glue the hanger onto the wise men again, and I think these turned out beautiful. I'm so glad. I was so excited to make these. Now you guys seem to really like my bell DIY, and so I saw these little bowls in the Dollar Tree and thought, you know what? We can make little bells for our Christmas tree. So for a set of 12, you get 6 of these. I just spray painted them upside down in a flat black, let those dry before bringing them inside. And now that I've got them inside, I'm going to use my hot glue gun to secure them closed. These are very lightweight, and I think that they give a very heavy or rich look. That's what I really like about them. So I hot glued the bowls together, secured them using more of my favorite clearance paint from Hobby Lobby and just brushing it over that black paint to give it that beautiful brass finish. Now this is really fun and you can play around with it. You guys have probably already seen my other bell DIY where I did the same method. Now instead of using the painter's tape for the little bell details, I just brought out my black paint and recreated it along the bottom and let those dry. I did have to give them a second coat because they came out a little bit light. Then I added a hanger, just a little bit of jute cording that I tied off, and I added it to my tree. Now I probably will go back and give the bell detail even more paint, so maybe 3 coats just to totally cover it and make it look really finished. But I love these and they are quite a substantial size for an ornament and you can't beat the price. Now on to what I think is my favorite, and I didn't think it was going to be. I picked up these wooden hanging rounds from the Dollar Tree. I also picked up this little wall decal and I thought, that's a circle. I think we can use that on these wooden rounds. So I just went ahead and traced the shape and then used my scissors to cut them out. Now I did pick up this paint. You're going to see it a lot more throughout the video. It is a paint from Dollar Tree in their $3 craft section. And I painted the entire edge of the round gold. Then I went ahead and used the circle that I traced to go ahead and trace out another one. I'm going to be doing the front and back. I wasn't sure at first if I would just do one side, but I decided to do both and I'm glad I did. It looks really finished. So then I just peeled off the back, I adhered it to the front, and then I went ahead and did the same on the back. Now, once I had those tile pieces in place, I brought out the gold leafing, also from the $3 craft section at Dollar Tree. You guys know in my last mystery box challenge, I used this. I fell in love with it. It's addictive. It is beautiful and it's so much fun and relaxing. So then I just used a skewer to poke the hole back through the ornament, and then I was able to string through some ribbon. So just a little craft hack. I do use a little bit of hot glue and I go ahead and glue my ribbon to a skewer to thread it, because otherwise it just frays and gets all crazy, and I'm going to be cutting off the end anyways. Then I added a quick little bow, and you guys, I think this turned out beautiful. I think it looks expensive and high end. It's something I would be proud to gift to someone, but I'm keeping it and I'm going to make a few more. I'm hoping to go live a little bit throughout the busyness of the season now that I'm sharing all these DIYs and create more of them for my trees. So next on the list is this DIY using the icicles you can find at Dollar Tree. Now they come in 2 packs. One is a larger pack and you get 6. One is a more medium size and you get 8. I got a pack of each. Now I did use my satin Heirloom White by Rust-Oleum. I took them outside. I gave both sides of the icicles a quick coat of paint, let those dry fully, and I really love how these turned out as well. Once they were dry, I brought them inside and I'm using this metallic royal gold. Picked that up at Hobby Lobby. Now for the smaller icicles, the more medium size, I'm painting the top 2/3. I decided to do the same look on all 4 of the medium. I'm going to use 4 medium and 3 long to create one ornament. This is so much fun, you guys. For the large ones, I just dry brushed on a coat of the gold. I coupled them together, tied them off with a little bit of ribbon, and I love these. I think these are gorgeous. I think they look expensive, and I'm so glad that I found some time to create these for my tree. Now, I love the gold, but I'm curious, what color scheme would you use if you recreated this DIY? Now, speaking of gold, it's time for another Dollar Tree Ornament DIY. For this one, I picked up a piece of fruit. Did you know that Dollar Tree sells different pieces of fruit in their crafting section? So I brought home one of their pears and I decided to give it a coat of gold. So I brought out my Mod Podge. Now I'm new to gold leafing. Like I said, I became very obsessed with it during the last mystery box challenge. Note to you, this Friday we're going to have another mystery box challenge. I'll have more DIYs to share with you. So I just added a little bit of Mod Podge. Sometimes I use paint, but you do need something to adhere the gold leafing to whatever item you are leafing. So it is so relaxing. You just basically pat it down where you need it. So I covered the whole pear and then went to sleep late one night and came back and there were some spots I needed to touch up. So I do recommend giving this a couple days for this project. It's time consuming, but like I said, it is so relaxing. It's the perfect thing to sit and watch Christmas movies for. Now also you can find faux fruit like this at craft stores, places like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I did not actually add a hanger. I just sat this on a branch and it looks great. I do think I probably will add a hanger. What would you suggest to secure the pear to the tree? I don't want to do a regular ornament hanger. I'm thinking maybe some ribbon and I could attach that maybe to the top of the stem. I'm also considering painting the stem maybe black. What do you think of that? Time for our next DIY. This one I think you guys are going to love. I did pick up a set of the wood slices from Dollar Tree. Comes in a 2-pack from Crafter's Square. I brought them home. I asked my husband to drill some holes. I also need some help with what would you guys use to create holes. Luckily he was working in the garage and I caught him at the right time. Then I mixed up some paint and water to create a little stain. I do want to be able to do more wood crafting DIYs, but I don't want to involve a whole lot of tools. So comment down below and let me know, what would you use? Now for the edges, they do have that raw edge. I decided to just give them a dry brush of gold paint, and I have been drying the cuties in my house that once they get a certain look, nobody eats. So I've been collecting those for Christmas crafting. I brought out my gold wire from the Dollar Tree to secure the orange, just making a couple of loops and then twisting it together. Now, I love the look of the oranges this year for Christmas. It's just beautiful and natural. It's very traditional and old school. So I decided to do that to the bottom slice as well, and then use that wire to connect the slices together. So this is going to be a bit of a longer or dangly style ornament. Once I secured those together, I decided, I think this needs some cinnamon sticks. So I thought I could just stick them through and easy peasy, the wire would keep them in place. Turns out that was not the case. I did go ahead and twist off that ribbon and trim it down, but it will need some hot glue just to make them really secure and so they don't move around. So I did go back with my hot glue gun and add a little bit of glue to each of my cinnamon sticks so that they were secure for years to come. Now I also took some cinnamon sticks and trimmed them into little bits that I bundled up with the same wire. I actually made 3 of these little bundles, and then I added some more of that wire to the bottom slice, and then I used that wire to secure them hanging down. So I just twisted them, added a bundle of the cinnamon sticks and twisted it a little bit more, and then I could add my next bundle of cinnamon sticks, repeating the process until I had them all strung along the bottom. And then once I had them all connected, I did come back with some ribbon and decide to add a couple of little bows. It's completely optional. I think it is beautiful either way. I also added one more of my cutie slices to the bottom, and this is the finished product. I think it is so pretty. Now I did come back with my hot blow dryer and I just melted off any little strings. Happened to notice them in editing, and so I did go do that. Just melt those off where I saw them here and there from the hot glue gun. What do you guys think of this one? It is, I think, really unique. It's beautiful. I think it is something you could get the whole family involved in crafting, and this goes perfectly with my decor for Christmas this year. here. I love it already on my tree. I think these would be beautiful gift toppers. But now let's get into some traditional ornament DIYs and hacks. For these, I'm going to be using the Crafter's Square clear and white ornaments you can pick up at the Dollar Tree. Let's go big first and start with the largest. They do come in different sizes. I also picked up the glitter vase filler, and for this one, I'm just hot gluing on the vase filler to the outside of an ornament. Now, in years past, I have used this to fill my ornaments, and those turn out beautifully as well. I have some that I made about 5 years ago, and they still look great, but I thought this would be really nice and add a great texture. It'll also make this large ornament that much larger and a statement piece on my tree. Now you can alternate them any way you want. I did end up using the entire bag, so I'm headed back to the Dollar Tree for another bag to get the back of it. Now you could also cut the orbs in half so that you have double the amount if you wanted to do that. I love this. I know that they sell the vase filler in a few different color schemes. So if white and gold are not your thing, I know they do sell red and green. I believe they even have a bronze and brown combination. What do you guys think of this one? I love this one. It is just different than anything else I'm going to have on my tree. I can't wait to get this one finished when I get back from the Dollar Tree. But next is another large ornament DIY. So when I craft, I keep all my greenery. I've been saving these little leaves from crafts throughout the year, and I wanted to use them. So I pulled out a large ornament. I pulled them off of their stems and added some hot glue to them. I did start at the bottom of the ornament, and I used the larger greenery leaves first to create a little layer. And then once that was done, I'm gonna go back with the smaller leaves and sort of layer them in between anytime there is a little peak from those greenery. You could use different things for this, including paper that you cut up into pieces. This is what mine ended up looking like. I think it looks like a cabbage roll, but then I busted out that gold bronze color that I'm loving this year, and I dry brushed that on. So I did end up giving this a total of 3 coats. 1 coat was good, 2 coats was better, and 3 coats was best. I'm also using this glitter from the Dollar Tree. I just sprinkled it right onto the wet paint at the top of the ornament because I ran out of these leaves. I thought I would have more, but I do like the combination of them together. Once I had the glitter completely covering the top portion of the ornament, I let it dry overnight, and then I actually gave it a coat of Mod Podge so that it would seal in that glitter and the leaves for years to come. I do love the texture that it gives this ornament. It's another one of their really large ornaments, so it's a statement piece, and I love reusing things that would normally be discarded, things that I craft with all the time and don't necessarily use. So you may want to hold on to some of your greenery for DIYs in the future. Next up, we're hitting a medium-sized ornament with another DIY. Now this one is a lot of fun. I actually decided to go ahead and use some of that $3 paint I showed you from Dollar Tree, and I thought that I could just kind of dip it. I'm using one of their white DIY Crafter's Square ornaments. That didn't work. So next up, I just added some paint to a container I was already going to be throwing away, and I just used it to sort of swish around the paint. I then took a paper towel and just tapped it, and I ended up with this gorgeous marbled finish, which is what I was going for. I also needed a place for it to dry, so I decided to use the side of my trash bin. Where would you hang yours to dry? I'm going to be making a ton of these. I have a bunch of these white DIY ornaments, and I love the finish it gave it. It took the shine off. It just sort of knocked it down a bit. It definitely made it look more like glass, and I'm telling you, in person, this texture is beautiful. You could go in with a second coat if you wanted. I only did 1 coat for this one, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. And it started out as kind of a catastrophe with the first method. Now up next, I'm using another medium size ornament. This is one of their white ornaments in Crafter's Square. I had started this project and abandoned it. I'm using the same spray paint I used on the Nativity DIYs to coat it. And as you can see, I did have some boogers over here. I had some drippage and some blemishes. So I decided to take some paint. You could use Mod Podge for this. I just decided to go ahead and willy-nilly just create sort of a smudged look all the way around the ornament. And then I covered the wet portion with glitter, tapped it off, added more glitter, let it dry. You get it. I also decided once this was fully dried to do the same thing and give it a really good coat of Mod Podge to seal in that glitter. I think this one looks very vintage. I think if you did this in different colors, maybe a turquoise and red or green, it would definitely give you more of a retro vintage vibe. I'm happy with it. Next up, we're doing another one, and this one we're using cording. My battery ran out, so literally I just hot glued this around this ornament, and it was so relaxing. It's a little time consuming, but I think the finished product says it all. I think these turned out gorgeous. Now I did score big on a ton of trim. Hobby Lobby's clearancing out all of their trim, and that is where I suggest picking some up. You could also do this with any kind of rope you have on hand, any kind of jute cording or trim from other projects. And for our last DIY, this is a simple small ornament hack. This one doesn't take a whole lot of time or a whole lot of effort, but I did save my pistachio shells for it. Now, I love pistachios. They're my favorite nut. What is yours? Comment down below and let me know. You may want to be saving the shells. I love the natural touch that this one gives, and you wouldn't have to paint it. I ended up painting mine, but all you do is basically go around, and where there is a gap in your shells, add another. Now, leaving it natural, I think it's beautiful, but I was going for something particular, so then I gave it a coat of black paint, and this did have to dry overnight. Once it was fully painted, you know what I did? I took that gold paint and I did some dry brushing just to bring out the texture and detail in each of the shells. And my daughter said, "Mom, that looks like a pine cone." I agree. I think this one turned out gorgeous. I think it does look like glass in person, and I love it. What do you think? Which is your favorite? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you back very soon.